Hey guys, welcome back to Clownfish TV. This is Kneon. I am here with Geeky Sparkles.
Hello.
And what year is it? Because this feels like an article that was written in 2016.
This feels like Rachel Leishman, who, if you've been following us for a while, you know exactly who this idiot is. Can't stand it that people aren't listening to them, and they're so desperate for views that they're going to do their same old playbook and try to throw shade at basically Gary from Nerdrotic to get themselves clicks and views. But don't worry, you don't have to give them clicks and views. You can listen to our video instead, and we're going to tell you everything they said. You don't have to go to their site at all.
There you go. That's how you do it, right? So that's what being an influencer.
So that they don't have to.
Yeah, being an influencer. That's what being an influencer is all about. So let's talk about this bullshit article from the Mary Sue, which is somehow still in existence. We'll talk about that. Why I think they're writing articles like this beyond the sour grapes. It's also just to piggyback off people's names, try to claw back some relevancy. Not that they were ever super relevant.
No, you put a claw and claw back because they're trying to be catty bitches to try to get people to click on them, for engagement.
And we'll talk about who owns them and what actually pays the bills if the bills are being paid at the Mary Sue. And it's not pop culture stuff; it's other stuff. So
plus, I was like taking on Rachel Leishman because she's a dumbass.
Geeky definitely doesn't like Rachel Leishman. I don't think anybody likes Rachel Leishman. I don't think Rachel Leishman likes Rachel Leishman. Except
I think know that maybe, but
I think your boy Zach would like Rachel Leishman because she sounds a lot like him, or he sounds like her. Maybe they're the same person. Maybe that's a pseudonym.
The same person, but yeah.
It's very weird reading this article. I'm like, holy shit, she hates Critical Drinker and Nerdrotic as much, if not more, than your boy Zach. So maybe they're the same person, or they're dating or something. Oh my God, is that what happened to him? He started fucking Rachel Leishman?
I doubt it.
Is that what happened to him? I'm sitting here wondering what happened.
I wouldn't wish that on either of them, honestly.
So anyway, let's talk about this before we get into it any further. Please subscribe for more pop culture news, views, and rants. Guys, you'll get a woohoo if you do.
Woohoo!
Go out to more.clownthishtv.com if you want to support us. We do not have super chats on this channel. I don't want to do that on this channel for a variety of reasons. So check out more.clownthishtv.com if you want to support us, get some bonus episodes. So let's paint a picture here first. We're going to talk about Starfleet Academy. People are like, why didn't you do a video yet on Starfleet Academy? And the honest answer is, I don't give a shit about this show. I don't care to watch this show. This whole era of Star Trek has been a bust for me. And I got lured into Strange New Worlds only to have a bait and switch, and we got the musical number and all that shit, and I noped out. I think they were doing Puppet Show now or something on it too.
It's like me with the last season of Doctor Who. I just don't care enough to watch it. So this video is not about the show itself. So we're going to start with that. We are not going to critique the show either way because we didn't see the show. Okay. We aren't going to critique that, but we are going to critique people like Rachel and her behavior about it. And it's all because they're mad about Gary getting more views on a Spock doll.
So I got honest. So here's what actually happened. What happened was Gary Buechler from he is Nerdrotic, right? He is a former comic shop owner. He owned a comic shop for years. You can actually verify this. And it actually was a shop that Brian Hibbs bought. It was one of the bigger shops in San Francisco. So the guy knows his shit, his nerd shit. Mm-hmm. And he's got a massive amount of collectibles just in his office. God only knows.
Same here.
Yeah.
And our house.
He's like, I bet I can beat them. So they were live streaming, I think the first episode of Starfleet Academy, if I understand it correctly. He put a static image of a Spock doll, and he got more concurrent viewers than the official Star Trek channel got. And this is what pisses them off. It's the same with Star Wars. Like, they started going after Star Wars Theory because he was more popular than the official Star Wars channel.
Right.
And they couldn't stand
it. Yes.
So that's kind of,
to be fair, everyone's more popular than Rachel, but she can't stand it. And I don't think it's much she can't stand it. She's desperate for views to keep her job. If it was in my opinion, I mean, I don't know this.
Yeah.
My opinion is she's desperate for clicks. They don't have enough clicks. She's probably getting told, "Hey, Gamers Group says do more clicks, or you're going to get laid off too." And so now she's trying to think of any kind of clickbait engagement she can come up with to try to get more clicks to keep her job. In my opinion.
Yeah, because, so they're owned by the Gamers Group now. There was another company that owned them before. They sold them in like 2021, 2022. Gamers Group has been shutting down websites like crazy, laying people off because there's no money to be made on these blogs anymore. It's just not the amounts of money they need to pay these people who want to unionize the amounts of money that they want. So they only have a handful of people left. So that's who owns them is Gamers Group. Now, what's interesting is if you actually go out to what are the most popular articles on the Mary Sue, none of them are pop culture. None of them.
Oh
are
no,
pop
it's all
culture
lifestyle
articles.
stuff, which I mean, it's fine.
Stuff
There's
and
a
politics.
lot of interesting lifestyle stuff going on that we've covered too. So I mean, I get it, but it's not even about pop culture because they even call themselves like the nexus of pop culture, but it's not even about pop culture anymore.
Yeah, because the pop culture fans don't read sites like the Mary Sue. They watch
they
YouTube
just ignore
channels.
Rachel. They hear her name and they're like, oh
Right.
God, not her again. Roll their eyes and walk away.
They watch Nerdrotic, they watch Critical Drinker, they watch us for better or for worse, right? But
And other people people like us.
like us, right? So that's what's going on, and they're pissed about it. And there's this whole group of journalists, and I swear to God, they're all coordinating on Discord or Slack or whatever. That's what we've heard. But they're so pissed because for like 10 years, they had control of the megaphone and they had pretty much steered the direction of pop culture. And they talked a lot of these studios into doing a lot of the, DEI initiatives, and we need more, women in games, and we need to be more sensitive. We need to stop doing this. All the things basically that people liked about pop culture, they tried to talk studios into changing, and it was a disaster. It wound up being a disaster. And now that the companies have wised up and they're like, yeah, this isn't where the audience actually is, because if it was, the money would be there. Now they're pissed because they're irrelevant. That's the picture I'm painting. So this has come from the Mary Sue, which still exists. Those dude bros mad at Starfleet Academy aren't actually Star Trek fans.
See, that's what we get. She does this all the time.
Oh,
you don't know what you're talking about. That's what she told Gary. He didn't know anything about Doctor Who, and the guy's been watching it and collecting it for years. She's just pissed because no one's listening to her. And she thinks that she should be the one to tell everybody what to think. They don't care what you have to say, Rachel. Shut up. Go stay in the cave where you came from.
Time and time again, go stay in the cave with Zach. Time and time again, we're confronted with quote unquote fans of something who continue to miss the lessons within the media they're consuming. We've seen it with Star Wars, our superhero stories, and it has become an increasing problem with Star Trek, quote unquote fans.
Translation, I speak fluent bitch. Translation is, you're not a real fan because you don't agree with me. And I want attention. Pay attention to me. Okay, I'll translate in bitch speak. Bitchies, if you will.
Bitchies. More recently, men like the Critical Drinker and Nerdrotic, known for hating anything that seems to be left-leaning, have been dogging on the Paramount Plus slate of Trek shows. That's because they suck. Rachel, they suck.
Translation, Critical Drinker and Nerdrotic are actually in touch with pop culture and what the fans want. I'm not, so I'm mad about it.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah, this is the same woman who, this was about a year and a half ago, basically challenged Nerdrotic to his Doctor Who knowledge.
Yes.
And it's like, if you're a real fan, show me your Doctor Who stuff, whatever. And he had a massive collection of Doctor Who memorabilia, all the Blu-rays. I mean, the guy watches this stuff, right? We get a lot of people accuse him of not watching this stuff.
They accuse us of the same thing.
Same thing. Dude, and we'll tell you flat out, like this one, I didn't give a shit about. And
this isn't even, we're not even talking about the show itself. We're talking about her behavior.
Yeah, and it's like I would like to see you. You probably don't have a lot of nerd stuff in your apartment you share with other people.
I don't know, but I do know that if she likes it, that's fine. We always say on here, if you follow, you're allowed to like something, you're allowed to not like something. The problem is when you become a complete asshole and you just like no one else is allowed to have an opinion that isn't your opinion, or you immediately degrade people who don't agree with you. And my comment to this is, if people like this show, then it'll show up in the viewership and it'll get a longer extension, just like the Acolyte and everything else that fell on its face because no one watched it. But hey, and that'll be the proof.
The issue with these right-wing figureheads talking about Trek is they miss one important detail about Star Trek. It never was for them. Now,
again, it's my thing, so I'm going to gatekeep it.
Yeah. So this is really a bad faith argument because I've heard this so many times before. Star Trek has always.
You expect a good faith argument out of Rachel?
Right. Star Trek has always been kind of liberal. It's always been. Progressive, or at least.
She gets that. Right? Just wait. She gets to that.
Yeah, I know. I'm just saying. But there's a difference between how it was handled, even during Next Generation, I think, and how it's handled now, which is very ham-fisted and very condescending. It used to be, in a lot of cases, they would present, different cultures or different ideas, and they would, do basically a morality play about the pros and cons. But a lot of times, especially a show like Deep Space Nine, you were kind of left scratching your head as to, well, who are the real villains? I don't know. We thought Starfleet was always the good guys, and sometimes they do things that aren't good. And maybe this culture, we misunderstood them. We thought they were a bunch of barbarians or whatever.
They made it entertaining and put the pill in the ice cream.
Exactly.
Now they just give you a dry suppository that's extra large with an ungreased glove, if you're lucky to get the glove, and then you're supposed to thank them for it.
I don't want her bare fingers up my ass. So yeah, a glove would be preferable. Anyway, from the start of Star Trek way back when, 60 years ago, I know that because I Googled it. Series is set out to do one thing, change the world, and that it was also entertainment. And it did. It made history for its inclusivity. It did. It did. I will give you that, including being the first interracial kiss on TV.
Yep.
Kiss was between Kirk and Uhura. Yeah, I remember that was a taboo. Also, green belly dancers. You know, that was
Their
a thing.
clothes were pretty they're scantily clad back then, and a lot of these women in these shows. I was always surprised.
There were a lot of hoes in Star Trek, right?
How little clothing was on some of these women then, but yeah.
It was very much, I think the original Star Trek was very much a product of its time, and that it was, kind of tapping into the zeitgeist, the, cultural, sexual revolution, so there were
no one ever debates that. Like, here's the next
paragraph.
Get down to the next paragraph.
Okay.
This is where I got some debates.
These
for you.
X personalities. Since then, men like these X personalities think they're the authority on all things nerdy. The reality is they just speak loudly and incorrectly about these franchises.
Okay, if they spoke loudly and incorrectly, please explain, Rachel. If they speak loudly and incorrectly, then how come so many people watch them? For one, and two, how come, like us, for example, and two, we say about like the Acolyte was dog shit and the viewership was dog shit, because by your argument, then you're a vocal minority, but no one's listening to you. Well, you can't be the vocal minority, but yet somehow everybody's listening to you in pop culture and being steered wrong at the same time, and it just tells me that the culture at large and people at large across the entire globe aren't watching these shows.
No.
Which would then imply that it's not a vocal minority.
Right. A lot of old school fans who did very much understand the original series and Next Generation, Deep Space Nine, they have tuned out because it's gotten ridiculous. Even if the show's good. Now, I'm going to be fair. Mark it on your calendars. I'm going to be fair.
Well,
we try to be
fair. You are fair.
I have had people write me privately and say the show's actually not that bad. It isn't that bad.
I'm not going to watch it because I don't care enough about it to watch.
That's just it.
That's the problem here. I used to watch all the Star Trek stuff. I used to watch all the Star Wars stuff. And we've gotten to a place where we don't even care enough about it because we're so tired of it that we're just don't even watch it.
It's, and part of me is like, is that by design? Did people associated with these shows run the franchises into the ground so they could shrink the fan base so they could make the shows they wanted to make without pushback?
That doesn't make any sense because a shrinking fan base isn't going to warrant money. I'm surprised they greenlit this.
They stupidly think it does. They stupidly think that they can make whatever fanfic they want to make. And I think I'm going to be honest. I think a lot of these people, I think there's a psychology behind it. I think they want to curate the audience. They want the audience to be small so they don't have that eye of Sauron on them.
But if you don't have enough of an audience, they're not going to be able to stay on the air.
They don't understand that. They think that there's free money forever, and that free money is running out.
Well, especially now.
It's going to be really interesting to see what happens with Star Trek, though, isn't it? Now that the Ellisons control it. So that's
also true.
That's going to come up because they love Star Trek. I'm like, man, if they didn't understand Star Trek, everything I've heard is the Ellisons freaking love Star Trek and they want to see it go back to being, for
Star
everybody
Trek?
again. Yeah, go back to being Star Trek. But yeah, I didn't even give it a chance because I don't care. Picard, it took me months to come around to watch Picard season 3 because I watched 2 episodes of the first season. Next Generation's probably my favorite TV show of all time. And I'm like, I'm not going to watch this because it's going to make me angry. I can already tell it's going to make me angry. I'm not even going to bother watching it, but season 3 was good. Anyway, look, you can use, so this is a sticking point for her. Look, you can use your money to buy every Star Trek toy out there. Doesn't mean you understand what this series is saying to you.
Okay, let's get this straight. You might be a fan enough that you buy all the toys and you watch all the shows and you like the show, but you're not a fan. You're not a big enough fan because you don't get the messages that she likes, even though she doesn't buy the shit or whatever. She's a bigger fan than you because you fundamentally don't understand this. That is the cheap ass argument where you're just trying to. You're basically you're mad you're not a gatekeeper anymore. You're mad you're not controlling the narrative. People are proving to you that they've been a fan for years. They put their money where their mouth is. You haven't, but that doesn't mean anything because they don't fundamentally understand because you said so. But this next part, I take issue with. I take a lot of issue with this next part.
Okay, which part? This right
The
here?
Republican. You're a Republican MAGA personality. Star
personalities.
Trek was never yours. It's like, listen, first of all, you have people like Rachel Leishman, and she's like a prime example of these quote unquote fans that turn around and they think they own everything. They think that their voice is the only one that matters. It has to be their way or the highway. And they really can't stand if people don't like what they like. I mean, you could like watch it and be like, I don't like it. It's not for me. And they immediately descend upon you. People like Leishman will immediately descend upon you and call you all kinds of names and MAGA and all this other idiocy just because they are mad and they're trying to belittle you to make their opinion sound more important. I can tell you for a fact, I know a lot of Republicans who love Star Trek, who were there when it came out, who grew up with it. And they start off with this part about, go ahead, I can't read it because it's too small, but you can read the first part and I'll tell you where I'm going with. Oh, you got it? Okay. A lot of the conversations is about how Starfleet Academy isn't their Star Trek. Well, seeing as Roddenberry held democratic and socialist ideals when he was alive. Yeah, let's talk about that. Democratic and socialist ideals. The democratic ideals from even the 90s, especially the 60s, would be considered Republican now. Let's be honest here.
Well, yeah.
Most people didn't move. Most people didn't move where they were at. The bar moved far, 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 far left. And a lot of the ideals he had and the things he believed in them, would be considered Republican now. So that's a load of shit, Rachel.
Yeah, it's really hard to take, and this happens all the time where people try to retroactively assume the politics of an individual, and yet you have to realize too that you're also shaped by the era that you were born into and the circumstances around your life. Product of your time, yeah. You are very much a product of your time, right? And people try to say, well, like Walt Disney was this person or that person, or I think we tend to project onto people our own personal politics and prejudices through a lens of current day shit, and there's no telling really where. I mean, I definitely don't think Roddenberry would have been a Trump fan, but I don't know where he'd be, because if they tried to cancel him, I'm going to be honest, and they probably would have, if they tried to cancel Gene Roddenberry today, he might just be like, well, fuck you people.
Well, yeah. And
like,
here's the thing too, it's like a lot of people who always have been left leaning by the criteria today are considered alt-right or on the right, us included, even though we've always been left. And we always were moderate leaning left. That those things that we would agree with, like, I mean, like what, interracial kiss, don't care. And things like that. They're like, you would be all against this stuff now, and it's like, no, most people wouldn't be.
There are a lot of assumptions made, because I'm like,
that's all Rachel does is assume.
Like, you're MAGA. I'm like, actually, no. I mean, my feeling on everything is like, I don't care what you do in your bedroom in your private time. That's as long as you're not hurting anybody else. That's a you thing, right? Fiscally, I'm a little more conservative because I don't like giving my money that I work for to other people who don't
people like Rachel who need people to pay, probably socialism, so they can keep writing stupid ass articles.
Exactly.
What I've come to realize is that there are men in this world, and it's always men.
Just men.
Did you ever notice that? And I talk about this in the She-Ra thing and the Star Wars thing, and I'm so fucking tired of it, Rachel. Come on, you can do better than this. If you're a woman and you're supposed to be so much smarter, can't you do better? It's always men, because she's mad about these guys in particular. Meanwhile, there are a lot of women who think you're full of shit too, Rachel.
Yeah.
You know, I'm tired of just blaming it. It's all sexism. But who's the one being a sexist here, Rachel?
They don't actually care. They'll buy a Spock doll and pretend like they understand this. They'll buy a Spock doll. No, actually, I think the Spock doll is probably something he's had for a while, and it probably came from his San Francisco comic book shop. But God, she's so pissed, dudebros. And you know what? You can write your rant, Rachel, and some shit from Reddit or some Instagram post or TikTok video or whatever you guys comment on is going to get infinitely more views than your article is, because nobody gives a shit about
That's what I'm saying. We'll take
opinions.
the views so you don't have to, Rachel.
Yeah. Because the people who actually care about these franchises watch YouTube. They don't read the Mary Sue. They'll buy a Spock doll and pretend like they understand the show itself. They just buy nerdy things and make it their personality.
Wait, says Rachel. She literally does the same thing. She makes all this stuff and be a gatekeeper her personality, but then she's telling everybody else about trying to make nerdy things your personality. Oh, sweetie. This is called projection.
Oh my God. Cuss about it. Stephen Miller decided to mock the show.
Wait, go back. That's fine. Be a collector, dude.
Be a collector,
I don't think Rachel can afford to be a collector.
Because she's got this one-sided beef with Gary because she went at him. And was kind of like, well, if you're such a collector, show me your Doctor Who. I bet you don't care about Doctor Who. And he had this massive collection. I know Doctor Who and Lord of the Rings, those two things, he is like a massive fan of. Original Star Trek, I know he's a massive fan of those. So, bitch, like, you got to know what you're talking about. And even William Shatner's put these people in their place. Like, he's like, shut the fuck up.
Well, no, he's like, oh, Shatner mocked Nerdrotic before, too.
No, actually, there's a whole thing. That's ridiculous. But what I think is hilarious is that accounts like End Wokeness are posting about Star Trek. Yes. They want to put an end to the wokeness agenda on shows like Star Trek. I wish I was
we're going to talk about that, Rachel. Let's have fun with that, okay? You're the Mary Sue, which is supposed to be the pop culture, the next to pop culture and everything else. But yet, most of your articles are about hating Trump politics and about weird stories about women having their hair done or stuff that's lifestyle news. So I don't think that you're the one to be talking about how End Wokeness is covering Star Trek when the Mary Sue is covering anything but pop culture now because no one reads your pop culture articles. I mean, pot or kettle there, Rachel.
Yeah.
Which one? Bitch is the choice. We already know you have that cornered.
Oh my God. Yeah, okay. This is just a pissing match. This is a one-sided pissing match, right?
Well, she's a girl. She can't pee very far.
Tell me, well, you'd be surprised. Who knows? Tell me you've never actually watched Star Trek without telling me. I come from a family of Trek lovers. Myself.
So do I, Rachel.
Okay, how is this?
Oh
okay.
my God.
How is this?
So
Okay. How is this any different? Because I remember about 10 years ago, there was this thing, and I think it was at the time Noelle Stevenson who was like, I went into a comic shop and I felt uncomfortable, and they didn't know that my agent got me a gig working on Marvel Comics so I could get another gig working on an animated series so I could be handed the reins to the She-Ra show or whatever. And she was complaining on Tumblr about it, the gatekeeping and the purity tests and whatever.
I went to comic shops. I never was treated like that. No, I mean, I'm not everyone, obviously, but they always say this, and I'm like, I didn't. That's not what happened.
Yeah, I mean, there are some.
I'm sure there are.
I've gotten it sometimes. I mean, there are some cases where people.
The gaming place and the guy was like trying to ask you. He's like, "Do you even know what cyberpunk is?"
Oh my God!
I just looked at him like, "Okay, time."
Yeah, we're trying to find a new group to play. This is like 5 years ago, and we went to this one game shop.
That is true. That did happen.
The guy was just.
He looks exactly like you'd expect him to look like.
He looks like that Reddit mod that's making the rounds right now, but he was kind of like he was like trying to lecture me and school me, and everybody's like leering at me because I was in there with my kid, and like people that don't see, like normally I'm dressed in like a golf polo and I just look like
most people don't. We don't go around saying who we are either.
No, I don't wear nerd shit on my sleeve, right? So I just look like some like middle manager guy.
Mom.
Yeah. So we look like
or 12-year-old from
people.
the 80s, one or the other.
So I go walk in there, probably wear my one of my black polos or whatever, and I don't have my nerd gear on or whatever the hell, and my I wear my Under Armour hat, and so I just look like they're like, do you even understand what cyberpunk is? I'm like, oh, for fuck's sake. Anyway, yeah, and I didn't tell them who I was.
That's what she reminds me of. But
the point was these people working for these publications, they have become the gatekeepers that they accused all these men of being.
And they're way worse than they
worse.
gatekeep. They actually do it. Like people but didn't gatekeep the level they say they did. And now they're the ones that are doing it. And then they have the balls to act like it. If you're coming from famous family of Star Trek lovers, oh, bitch, please. My dad was in the Navy, and he was a huge fan of Star Trek when it was out initially. I have grown up watching all the Star Trek series. My dad, we used to go to all the movies. Like it was like a family event. We go to all the movies.
Yep.
My father is a huge Star Trek person. My father's also a Republican, by the way. And we're a family of Star Trek, so my opinion matters. Well, and if that's what it takes to have your opinion matter, then I guess my opinion matters too, Rachel. And I think you're full of shit. Because I also come from a family of Star Trek. We always went to the movies to see Star Trek. And as far as Star Wars goes, they fucking named a character after me. Bitch, I didn't name it after you. So don't try to tell me I don't know anything about that either. And why'd they name it after me? Because I read all the books and wrote the author's fan mail because I read everything Star Wars because I loved it so much. I'm not doing it as a bragging point. I'm just using it as a point to bring up. If that's what it takes to say you're an authority, well, then I guess I'm authority. So sit down.
But what is she saying here? It's been a part of my life for as long as I can remember, which is
Same.
probably why the whales, Gracie and George, are my favorite.
Yeah, Star Trek 4.
Anyway, my point is, I know Trek. So whenever I see these talking heads berating the franchise, I know, okay, here's the thing too. I'm going to stop right there. Star Trek changed massively after Gene Roddenberry died.
Yes,
right?
that's true.
So when you're talking
she
about...
would know if she was a real fan of Star Trek and been following it all this time.
The Berman era was very different, and I liked it, but it felt different than Gene Roddenberry's Star Trek, right? It did feel different than his Star Trek. And the Kurtzman era of Star Trek feels even more different than that. Like, I would take the Berman era over this era of Star Trek any day of the week, right? Because there was something lost. But what I'm saying is, when you're defending a franchise, you got to realize that franchise is not the same franchise it was when the person who created. So you talk about Gene Roddenberry till the cows come home or the whales come home, whatever. You can talk about it until you're blue in the face.
Transparent aluminum.
Transparent aluminum. There you go. Yes. Computer. Maybe. Yeah. He was how quaint. The keyboard. Yeah. We saw that one too.
Yeah.
Anyway.
In the theater with my dad.
Yeah. So it was a good movie. But I was very disappointed. I lived in San Francisco. I'm like, where are the freaking humpback whales in captivity? There's no, I want to see humpback whales. And all we got were belugas. Because they weren't very big. But yeah. So what I'm saying is Star Trek now is just the brand. It's the IP. It's just like Star Wars. It's not George Lucas's Star Wars. I'm going to be honest. I don't think Gene Roddenberry would like modern Star Trek. I don't think he would. I think he would look at it and be like, yeah, this is veered pretty far from what I intended. And also in Strange New Worlds, they were like roasting the shit out of old Star Trek. I'm like, why would you do that? If you have such reverence for Star Trek.
Oh, that's like She-Ra. They don't.
Why would you do that? You know, it's like, yeah, it was a product of its time. Actually, the show that shows more reverence for what I believe Gene Roddenberry, his vision of Star Trek, was The Orville. So as someone who's watched Star Trek for a long time, my whole life, I used to watch it with my uncle, the original series. And then I watched Next Gen starting, I was like, like 10 or 12 whenever it came on. I watched it every effing week. I'd watch it twice because it was on one channel, it was in syndication.
He still watches it over and over again now. He will literally Star Trek channels on the TV and watch it.
I love Star Trek. So I used to watch Next Generation. Actually, no, 3 times a weekend because it was on Saturdays on one channel, Sundays on another, and then we had on PBS too. We'd have like the reruns, like season 1 and 2. So I'd go back and watch those.
You're talking like you're actually a fan of something and you've been around it for a long time.
And I remember the first time I heard of Star Trek Next Generation, it was on Reading Rainbow with LeVar Burton, and he did a set tour, and I was like, oh my God, there's new Star Trek, and the guy from Reading Rainbow's on it. I gotta watch this. And my uncle, who was a purist, an original series purist at the time, and
he was also in the Navy.
He was in the Navy. He had all the models. He built all and he used to explain the differences between the Enterprises and all that stuff. But he did not like Next Generation. He's like, it's too weird. Why do they have carpet on the bridge? Why are they all wearing like leotards? He's like, I don't get it. I think he came around eventually, but yeah. So I mean, this whole thing, like, fandom, like fighting over stuff is always
okay. But let's go.
Anyway,
so wait,
what I'm saying is, you're like talking about Roddenberry's vision. His vision has been gone since he died in 1991. I think it was 91 or 92. Star Trek hasn't really adhered to his vision for that long. So. Right. That's just like George Lucas being like, well, if you hate The Acolyte, you hate George Lucas. I'm like, bitch, I don't think George Lucas liked The Acolyte. He said repeatedly it's not his Star Wars. At least we still have him to get his opinion on these things. We
Jokes
don't have
them. No one watched The Acolyte. That's the problem.
Nobody watched it.
Just like this one. It's like, I know you don't really care about Roddenberry's vision or what the show represents. And Gutfeld mocked the YouTube views on his first episode because Nerdrotic live stream a Spock figure sitting in a chair, and it got more views. Yes. Because the point is, no one's watching it.
That's the point.
I think he knows. Even he knows, like, not everybody watches him either. And he has a lot of subscribers, but he's not the big Star Trek fan base at large. The people that were supposed to be the big mega fans weren't watching it. A Spock doll. The whole point was a Spock doll just on video got more views. concurrent views
That was the
than
point.
the episode because nobody gave a shit. That's the point.
And they can't all the people who didn't watch can't all be Republican, MAGA, racist, homophobic, whatever. They don't care about Star Trek because the people who are running Star Trek now, who are not Gene Roddenberry, have run it into the fucking ground. And even the old heads, Star Trek had a very solid fan base. They're not even watching anymore.
But a lot of times with these new shows, they'll tell you they weren't fans of it and they were told not to watch much of the old one just to make a new one.
Yeah.
And and this happens all the time. So even the people running these shows half the time aren't even fans. So it's just like, or not like long-time fans. She's so full of crap. Oh, you have the numbers?
Yeah, so he had, this is on January 15th, 24,000 views. Peak concurrent, he had over 3,000 people just watching an action figure sitting in a chair. It got more interaction than official Star Trek. This is why Lucasfilm, I think, has been targeting Star Wars Theory. He's got a bigger channel than the official Star Wars channel, and he was fine until he started criticizing Lucasfilm, and they became public enemy number one. And you have these people that want to be him that are attacking him. And this is like Rachel Leishman would love to have the audience that Gary has, and would love to. Apparently, she's very jealous of his little action figure collection because she keeps bringing that up. Like, you can buy stuff, you can have stuff, you can own things. Sure, you can have the money, disposable income to buy shit.
You're wasting all your money on this stuff. Doesn't mean you're as big as fan as me. It's like, no, that means he's a bigger fan than you. But okay. Let's go back to her meltdown because it's so funny to me.
You can buy a lot of cat food with these toys. I'm just saying.
Hey, I can't say anything. I'd have toys and cats.
Cat food's expensive now. It got really expensive. What the hell happened?
To talk about that, and they said, they said they watched it there. But I guess if you only have a few brain cells that work, you think this is a gotcha moment. Oh, sweetie, you think this whole article is a gotcha moment. But you're going about other people who have a few brain cells that work.
Okay,
I mean, this whole thing is just projection.
It is. She's
pissed.
She wrote an entire article about how pissed off she is that Gary got more views on his fucking Spock live stream than she got on her fucking whatever. Okay, all this is to say that Starfleet Academy is what I've always loved about Star Trek, okay? It feels like a warm hug. Oh, fuck. And it's fun, adventurous, exactly the kind of world Roddenberry dreamt of 60 years ago. So don't let
I guarantee you it's not the world he dreamt of 60 years ago.
Don't let a bunch of nonsense on social media try to paint the show in any other way. So why did you write this article at all? Why did you just go enjoy your show, do a review?
Tell you why. She wrote this article because she's desperate to get views to probably keep her job. So she's trying to, what can I do that I can have a little meltdown about and try to get people triggered so they come and comment and look at my article.
These people, despite all their parading around as experts on nerddom.
So, Rachel, again, this is all projection.
Just want to reiterate.
I know. This is her projection.
They'll attack and lash out and demand you prove yourself, which she is doing. That's what they all fucking do. They do that to us too. They'll be like, well, I bet you didn't know this little niggling, trivial thing about the whatever. If you were a real fan, not grifter, you'd know this one thing. They attack and lash out and demand you prove yourself. In reality, those of us who actually love and enjoy these franchises know we know a lot more than some grifters online. Okay, Zach.
Wait. Go back to that paragraph. Despite all their parading around, or they act like experts on nerddom, don't know what they're talking about, and they attack and lash out and demand you prove yourself. Didn't you demand that Gary prove that he was a Doctor Who fan? And then when he totally annihilated your ass.
He annihilated her ass.
You kept doubling, tripping down on it. It looks stupid. You go around trying to say that you have to. You did that. You don't tell me. You did that one thing about dear nerds. Don't tell me about having a hissy about was it Captain Marvel?
Yeah.
Keep your Captain Marvel hot takes to yourself. You are the queen of going around and demanding that people prove their nerddom because they couldn't have an opinion that disagrees with you unless they prove they're a nerd. And then when they do, you're like, well, that doesn't count. Spending your money on it and watching every episode and enjoying everything doesn't count because, I said so. And then because you grew up watching Star Trek, which I'm sure Gary and a lot of us did, that makes you a bigger geek than we are. Your opinion matters more. It's like Sweet Cheeks. I saw all the Star Trek movies too. I watch Star Trek all the damn time too. I've seen all the episodes for most of the stuff too, mostly because of Kneon now and everything else. And it's like, you don't get to tell me that you're the expert and no one else is allowed to have an opinion because you watched it growing up. Get in line. It starts miles behind me. Go ahead, get in line.
Yeah, there's a reason it's called pop culture because it was popular. It
God,
formed
you're
the
so
culture.
stupid. It hurts.
She's
I mean,
no, she's jealous. She's
seriously.
not. She's. I
No,
mean,
she's
she's stupid. She
stupid.
probably is stupid, but she's jealous. These people are jealous. This is
And
why
she's
they.
desperate for views.
This is why they spend, and I do believe it's journalists. I do believe they spend all their time on subreddits like Solier Than Crate trying to tear down all these YouTubers because
The bad
they
one,
have.
not the good one.
Yeah, there's two Solier Than Crates. The one with the rainbow is the one where they basically bitch about YouTubers all day because the YouTubers have the audience they think they're entitled to, and their attitude is very much like that.
But even if you took
spazzy Redditor guy that was like,
even
holy shit.
if you took all the audiences of YouTubers that are the same vertical, whatever, and
Yeah.
you took all the audiences pro and con for whatever, and you combine them, well, one, there's going to be a lot of overlap, but two, that is a small drop in the bucket compared to the fandom at large, and the fandom at large rejects these things in mass, like the Acolyte and stuff like that, because they don't want it. It's not just because one YouTuber said what you don't like. The fandom in general is rejecting things that you like, that that Rachel Leishman gets mad about. They reject it as a large group.
Yeah.
And then she still tries to say it's just because YouTubers, like, they don't have, and then that same time saying you're not really a nerd, so no one cares what you think. It's like you can't have it both ways. It's like that Schrodinger's fandom you talk about. It's either
Yes.
you control everything, but you have no control over anything, and it doesn't make any sense. And globally, these things are on the decline because the choices being made are stupid ones.
So speaking of Schrodinger's fandom, riddle me this, Batman. Riddle me this, because it depends on what the media thinks. This is coming from Collider, and they're talking about the right-wing attacks and the
Yes, I
review
keep
bombing
seeing it.
on the new Star Trek show. Okay, and again, this is not a review of the show. I've not watched the show. But why is it review bombing if the audience score is low, if the media likes the show? But if it's something like Stranger Things 5 that everybody agreed was not great, then that's just totally justified.
Right, that's what they always do.
You know what I'm saying?
We've
So
talked about that before, yeah.
Yeah, it's very selective. Like, oh, the audience hates it. Well, that's okay. I hate it too. So because I hate it too, this is the correct number. But if I like this thing and the audience score is low, then that's got to be review bombing because nobody can disagree with me. And that right there, that is, you think you're the main character of fandom. If it bothers you so much that other people don't like a thing that you like, and you're going to obsess
it's just
about
Gary and Critical Drinker that she's pissed about.
Oh yeah, because by themselves they brought this down to 43%.
Yeah,
sure.
They did it all themselves.
I mean, this is just so fucking. Basically, there's a bunch. I'm going to be honest. There are just a bunch of socially inept, broken people in fandom, and a lot of them work their way into the media. And this is what happens when you give everybody a platform, and some people just shouldn't have a platform. Can I say that?
I just think it's
I'm
funny
saying
that,
it.
I just think it's funny because she's the one like, oh, it's Mary Sue's like all the pop culture and everything else, and now it's everything but pop culture for the most part. It has some pop culture articles, but majority of it's not even that anymore.
God.
And then they're talking about everybody else. Everybody else is doing that, and I'm like, that's what everything you do. That's everything you do.
Imagine writing an entire article flipping out about a fucking action figure live stream. Like that's okay.
We'll get more views on this video.
We're gonna
than
get
she'll
more
get in her article.
That's okay. Maybe you should go write what's some of this other shit that they write that gets more views than her stuff. Sent hubby to get mine today. Women are going crazy for the Harbor Freight spray tan hack. That has a lot to do with pop culture. This feels illegal. Woman takes all new dates to color me mine. What the fuck is that? Her scheme has led to new free dishware. Genius or diabolical? This one, Orange County woman says her hairstylist of 6 years fired her with no context. Now people are roasting her. I don't even know you, and I know why. What the hell shit is this?
Underneath it, other things. Divorced redneck style.
Divorce redneck style. Tennessee man gives wife the house and everything in his divorce. She's going to wish she went after his money instead. Kansas City woman gets 90-minute massage, tips 25 for it. This is all Reddit shit. You think I'm friends with your dad? Los Angeles Lululemon worker checks out on a customer who looks familiar. I replaced my Ream water heater twice within 5 years. What? A packet of soy sauce has more product. Well, a packet of soy sauce has more pop culture than the Mary Sue at this point. I mean, buys a pack of minis from Sephora. What the fuck word salad shit are they putting on this website to keep it relevant?
Do they still have top of the page, at the main page, that's a nexus of pop culture or whatever? They take that off finally.
No, they're big on the internet now. Is that shit big on the internet? They have Jimmy Kimmel. Marvel, whatever, on the main page. But what's actually popular, oopsie doopsie, they didn't change it. What's actually popular are those other articles. They're just a bunch of word salad.
And if it's
because
not
nobody's
that, it's
reading
almost
shit.
always like, if you go to news, go to news for a minute. It's going to be almost all like Trumpity Trump shit. That's usually what it is.
Man waits
Ted
for his,
Cruz.
Ted Cruz. Man waits for his luggage because that's got a lot to do with pop culture. Trump. How much Trump? Trump. Fuckity Trump. Yeah. I love what he's done with his hair, by the way.
I'm just saying, it's just like that's all it is. Then she's
all...
there telling everybody else about you're just like a poser and everything else because you don't talk about what you say you're going to talk about. And I'm like, what the hell?
You're obsessed with politics, Nerdrotic. You don't actually like pop culture. All you want to do is talk about politics. Look at this fucking shit on your website. Come on. Bunch of damn hypocrites. And you're going to be laid off. You're going to get laid off soon. I'm sorry. The economy. No, I'm not that sorry. Actually, Mary Sue can't get gone fast enough. The economy sucks. You're desperate, clearly, the shit you're writing just to try to stay relevant. And the fact that you're going after YouTubers have already schooled you 10 times over. You're desperate. You're done. Just stop. You're embarrassing yourself at this point.
So stop just blaming everything on men.
Men.
It's really
It's probably
sad.
a keyword. Can wrap it up.
Yes.
It's almost like you need men to have a career, right? You need to.
I think is the website owned by a dude?
It is. It's owned by a group of dudes. Yes.
Yeah. So there you go.
All right. So we gotta wrap it up.
Yes.
We're gonna wrap it up, right? Okay. So please subscribe. Please subscribe for more pop culture news, views, and actual pop culture news, views, and rants. We'll talk to you later.
Bye, Rachel.